Deleted session, August 20, 1977. Now, good evening. To begin with, a few comments about some thoughts of Ruber's. He is quite correct. The universe is not neutral. In the terms in which you understand the world, there is a God. Obviously, I am not speaking of a personification of a super person. For that matter, in the terms of your language and the intellectual concepts, you will probably have to take it for granted that you cannot understand the nature of such a God. You will know God's actions, however, through the manifestations of the universe. That God is not simply neutral energy. For example, the universe is supportive. There is a force, if you prefer, that actively loves each individual, each consciousness, and actively works to help that consciousness attain the fulfillment inherent in its nature. Despite all misinterpretations, therefore, the universe is caring, and so is nature. The impetus toward creativity is a loving one, and the nature processes in both body and mind as lovingly directed. The body even lovingly seeks to follow its own nature, and is lovingly directed to do so. Ruber's eyes lovingly try to perfect themselves. I realize you are not living in an ideal world, but we are giving that world ideas that can vastly increase people's understanding. The body is never in a state of status quo. Ruber's improvements are occurring, as I said. The eyes, however, have given hints of their true capacity, as in today's episodes. Many people, not all, do not see the world as others see it, and so there are social and medical explanations. The eyes do not function right, and they are given glasses. When Ruber's body began its regeneration lately, it began to correct all conditions from scratch. It will give hints and signs of where it is going, as in today's episode. This may be spasmodic, as the body in whatever portion attains a temporary goal. Even that temporary attainment is important, for it destroys your previous concepts and serves as new mental impetus. One day in the bathroom, Ruber found his knees and toes impulsively moving rather quickly together, up and down, elevating him with some spontaneous ease. This was to some extent the same kind of sign. On other occasions, portions of his body will move with nearly normal speed. Another sign of the body's intent. All of these will be put together. To some extent, however, some synchronization has escaped you. Ruber walks, as far as he is concerned, with less hustle, even while considerable changes are occurring. The steps to the garage are no longer dreaded. His performance is better there. His sitting down is far easier. Some of his gestures are quicker. The body gives its signs of intent, however. You can see where it is going if you pay attention. It will show signs. Then more and more of that nature. A sudden, far better than usual performance. Perhaps simply of one group of muscles or one new motion. This may not be observably followed up in the next day or so, or even week, because the body is also working on other areas. But they are all signposts, and they should be vastly reassuring. The entire body, as I mentioned, is becoming more responsive, and the flesh more supple. He is more interested in food. The entire head area is again vitally connected with all portions of the body. Their tension was first applied. His teeth are very loose on the tops. They can be saved if you can manage it, meaning if he can manage to believe it. The entire jaw area is changing. Circulation to the gums is considerably increased. That issue, however, is relatively unimportant. The situation with the eyes today, however, can be used as a basis to lead to an understanding that the same can happen with the teeth. It is true in terms of culture that the two of you may feel quite alone in this endeavor, but in terms of more basic issues, you are not alone, for you have all of the power of nature on your side. When the large ligaments in the neck area started to repair themselves, they did not try to do a halfway job, but to undo conditions of long standing, some that were taken for granted, such as lack of depth perception. For example, your fears generated by the beliefs of your society, of course, add extra anxiety when Rupert's eyes look poorly, and he has trouble with his vision. As you know, many people acquire all kinds of glasses when their eyes are in temporary periods of stress. When Rupert took his glasses off at times, the eyes tried automatically to adjust themselves. Rob noted, as today. They said there is no need for him to go without glasses for any specific amount of time. When he feels, however, as he did today, like taking the glasses off, let him do so. Your fears force you to insist upon improvements as fast as possible. Each improvement reinforces your confidence. On the other hand, the fear also generates anxiety, and sometimes more discomfort, as you interpret it as a result. Give us a moment. Take your break if you prefer. Ross said, I am okay. They said, then get our friend a beer. Rupert's situation is noticeable. It is an example, however, of what goes on constantly in far less obvious situations with most people. Many medical procedures cut short healing processes. In your society, there are obviously certain conditions that require medical help, for you simply have not learned to deal with them on any other basis. Taking that for granted, however, the body is an entire organism, and in many cases, at least, the treatment of individual symptoms merely masks the body's greater integrity. Give us a moment. The eyes naturally need contact with different kinds of light, temperature, wind, and air. They are responsive to those conditions and react to them in a lively fashion. Contact lenses impede that responsiveness to a greater extent than glasses. They impede the liveliness of the eyes over a period of time. The eye's responsiveness is connected with the ear's responsiveness and with balance. Such measures to some extent segregate certain portions of the body, as if those portions could be considered alone. In Rupert's case, the bifocals would have been detrimental. His vision problems had little to do with his eyes, for example, but with the way he was using the ligaments in his neck and with his posture. As the posture changed, the eyes had to change. Those changes were bound to involve alterations in vision. For now, the sinus spray is all right, in moderation. The pressure applied to his jaw area is changing. Before, the eyes, ears, sinuses, and jaw area often acted under relatively non-stationary conditions. The body wants a clean sweep. Give us a moment. The teeth move about, the loose ones, as the jaw changes its positions. He may lose the loose ones in that procedure. If he can hold confidence, however, they can then stabilize in slightly different positions and hold firm enough for practical purposes. I am telling him that my forecast did take place. Although the eyes alterations showed in spasmodic extant behavior, rather than as steady beta behavior, they will stabilize, however, practically speaking, as they did at times today. There is some overall general improvement, which I want you to note. There will be, however, my next forecast. Sudden extant performances, usually of an isolated nature, of one portion of the body or another, with a less noticeable but definite continuation of overall improvement. He should work on the porch more frequently and paint there also, for the sketching will exercise the eyes, and the air is a help, increasing appetite and allowing the body to become more responsive to changing conditions. Give us a moment. You have little idea of the ways in which you inspire others. The few moments you gave those young people are important to them out of all proportion as far as the time concerned is involved. Ruber's idea for the future is a good one. Seeing those who officiate at such groups, Rob noted, said classes. They said you make your own reality, but you cannot ignore the greater reality from which your world springs. Even those people, therefore, who deny the validity of anything but the most materialistic philosophy, sometimes dream unmaterialistic dreams, and in their unguarded moments they sense the greater source from which their materialistic world springs. Men and women who insist that emotions are simply psychological mechanisms cannot stop themselves now and then from a soaring of emotional comprehension that later makes their materialistic philosophy quite dull, dreary, and uncreative. Close their eyes as they will, such people are still presented nightly with dreams in which they are swayed by events that have no physical basis in the world of facts. And that is my answer to your question. You wondered, really, if such a reality were possible, and if some people were really so blind. But the inner self provides certain safeguards, and the universe is a caring one, so that even those people are given some inner version. End of session, and a fond good evening. Ra said, thank you very much, Seth.